Nunhead station was located here, a few yards eastwards from the original station now. The line opened in 1865 by London, Chatham and Dover Railway, and it was a direct service between Peckham Rye and Crystal Palace. The curved track in the distance is the location of the old station. The original Nunhead station had 4 platforms to deal with the services coming from Greenwich Park, Bromley and Crystal Palace. As you can see in the top of the map, there are 2 sidings where carriages used to be when they weren't in use. Used to be for the old station. So one used to be along here on this path and then another one just on the other side of this gate here. This is where the old station was. As you can see, the old site of the station is now occupied by an estate. The main purpose of the line was to transport passengers efficiently to the recently relocated Crystal Palace. The palace was relocated from Hyde Park after the Great Exhibition in 1851. Crystal Palace at the time was known as Sydenham Hill and was a suburb of large villas. Honor Oak Station was located here at the southern end of Honor Oak Road, parallel to Woodvale. The 2 platforms at this station were built from timber and were accompanied by a small shelter on each side. The platforms at this station were built on an embankment which was prone to slippage. This caused the alignment of the platform to change over time. What's an embankment? What's an embankment, you say? Well, a road, railway line or canal is normally raised onto an embankment made of compacted soil, typically clay or rock based, to avoid change in the level required by the terrain. The alternatives being either to have an unacceptable change in level or detour to follow a contour. A cutting is used for the same purpose where the land is originally higher than required. Well then. There was also a goods yard located south of the station on the western platform, where there were 3 sidings to hold 25 carriages. If you see here, it's a straight through path through the trail, which is exactly where the railway tracks used to be placed. And I feel the trail was in remembrance for the railway tracks, to have some memory of it instead of building houses or whatnot on top of it. And at the end where London Road entrance is, which is where I am now, across the road on the main road where the South Circular is where Lordship Lane station used to be. Lordship Lane station was located on a bridge over London Road. The overbridge had to meet Dulwich College's conditions, which included the bridge having to be heavily ornamented. The rest of the station, however, was constructed using mostly timber to reduce the costs. On the map here, you can slightly see where the track used to be. So I'm here now, which is a slight diversion to where the track used was. But if you see, there's a straight line, and there's a footbridge over here where the train used to run underneath. And then it continues straight into where path is now, straight through, down to where Crescent Wood Tunnel is. This here is the footbridge that used to run across the 2 tracks. It is located in between the stations Lordship Lane and Upper Sydenham inside of Dulwich Woods. This is Crescent Wood Tunnel, Northern Portal. So I just think it's quite crazy that there used to be a whole railway here. Just passing straight through here, straight through this tunnel. Big steam trains, and now there's just a trail. This is the old station house. It was located on Wells Park Road with steps and a path that ran down to the platforms. So right now I'm standing where a train track used to be. The station was located in between the southern portal of the Crescentwood Tunnel and the northern portal of the Paxton Tunnel. This doesn't look wide enough for a whole 2 trains to fit through. Then I clocked they bricked up 2 sides of it because obviously they couldn't fit a gate to an arch, so they had to brick it and then put a gate in so it could fit as a normal sized, like rectangle, square, I don't know. I think it's a square. What do you think? I think it's a square because it's not. Yeah, no, it's not a rectangle. But yeah, wow. The station wasn't used that much as the area was surrounded by villas that were quite spaced out. This caused the decrease in stopping services at this station by 1910. So I had to take this off because I was way too hot. I don't know why it's so hot today. But yeah, I'm just on the section of track. So down there, I'm going to go around. That's where the southern exit of the Paxton Tunnel is. Oh, there's a little gate open. But down there is where the Paxton Tunnel south entrance is. So then it will come up here to the parade. Obviously, that side would be where the Crystal Palace would be along this whole side. There would be tunnels underneath, like subways to get through to the other side because this would be a main road. Not cars, but I'm guessing horses and so forth. Even though it sounds like a great line for today, back then the line wasn't so popular due to stations being built relatively close to existing ones, such as Honoric Park, Forest Hill, Sydenham Hill and Crystal Palace Low Level Station. It's really weird, I'm just really picturing just 1800, 1900 men and women just dressed in their fancy clothing come into this station to see the palace, I guess. It's quite mad, which would have been just here. Right on this side. This was the site of the old Crystal Palace High Level Station. In its place is a housing estate and a rehabilitation centre. After exiting the south portal of the Paxton Tunnel, the 2 tracks split into 4, with 2 platforms used by the turntable of the southern end of the station. This is now a car park. The station was designed by Edward Middleton Barry, costing a whopping £100,000 to build. The £100,000 converts into £12,647,148.45. Out of all the stations on this line, this is definitely the fanciest, with its lavish red brick and buff terracotta building.
What's buff terracotta?
Great question, Elio. Buff terracotta, also known as architectural terracotta, is referred to as a fine mixture of clay and water that can be used in a non-structural, semi-structural or structural capacity on the exterior or interior of a building.
Oh gee, thanks.
No problem. The 4 tracks were split into 2 platforms where the 2 inner tracks were allowed for passengers to alight and board the train from both sides. This was done to speed up loading and unloading times. This, as well as the turntable used by the outer 2 tracks, was a method to avoid delays. They renamed the station Crystal Palace High Level in Upper Norwood in 1898. The reason for this was due to a decline of visitors to the Crystal Palace and the station. They thought the rename, Crystal Palace High Level in Upper Norwood, would attract more residential traffic, but it did little to change it. Right then, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you like content like this, give a little subscribe to see more. Peace.